The ballroom glittered with 1,000 lights as cameras flashed and heads turned. Reporters whispered her name, trying to connect the dots between the young woman in the emerald gown and the titan of industry standing beside her. Olivia Blake didn't flinch. She stood tall, poised, confident, unshaken. Just months ago, she was handling tenant complaints in a mid-rise building. Now she was co-chairing the annual Future Tech Gala. Alongside the man Forbes once called the last cold-blooded CEO, their hands brushed as they moved through the crowd, deliberate, familiar. The kind of touch that spoke of shared secrets and undeniable trust. No one here knew the truth. Not about the elevator, not about that day when time froze and everything changed. But Olivia remembered it all, every second of it. This is a story about fate, timing, and the kind of love no one expects. Especially between a 27-year-old assistant property manager and a 61-year-old CEO of a billion-dollar real estate empire. You'll see how one unexpected moment, in the strangest of places, led to boardroom confrontations, viral headlines, and an unthinkable offer. Pay close attention. There's a brief quiz at the end asking, how many times did you hear the name Olivia Blake? It's just for fun. Get it right within 7 days for a chance at our shoutout post. Watching late? Answer anyway. We might still surprise you. Drop a comment, hit like, subscribe now, and turn on the bell for more amazing stories that prove life can change in a single moment. It was supposed to be just another Tuesday. The lobby of the Northgate Tower buzzed with the usual rhythm. Paper cups of burnt coffee, briefcases swinging from tired hands, and the quiet hum of phones already lighting up at 7:59 a.m. Olivia Blake checked her clipboard, her heels tapping lightly as she crossed the polished marble floor. She wasn't dressed like most of the tenants. No power suit, no silk scarf, no polished assistant with a latte trailing behind. She wore a simple navy blouse and black slacks. Her badge read, Operations Supervisor. She was 27, smart, sharp, and a little too good at solving everyone else's problems. The elevators dinged. She stepped in alone, thumbing through her maintenance notes. Floor 42. She had a meeting with janitorial and one broken HV unit to deal with. That's when he stepped in. Tall, silver-haired, impeccably dressed in a charcoal gray suit and polished Oxfords that whispered money before he even spoke. Richard Langston, CEO of Langston Properties, the man whose name was stamped in gold above the very building she worked in. He didn't look at her. Not at first. The elevator doors closed. The numbers blinked. 2, 3, 4, then it stopped. A sudden jolt. Then stillness. And then darkness. Only the faint red glow of the emergency lights lit the cramped space. Olivia looked up instinctively, already moving to the panel. She pressed the intercom. Nothing. Her phone, dead. She took a deep breath, then turned to him. Looks like we're stuck. Richard met her eyes and smiled. That was the first surprise. The second was the way he spoke. No barking, no entitlement, just calm. Looks like we are. Minutes passed, then more. No signal, no intercom. Just them and the quiet hum of machinery that had gone completely silent. I'm Olivia, she said finally. I know, he replied, folding his arms. I read every name on the employee logs every month. You've solved 3 crisis calls in 2 weeks. She blinked. You read that? I built this place from scratch. I pay attention to what holds it together. And just like that, the wall between billionaire and building supervisor cracked open. She laughed. Well, I guess today I'm the one who's stuck. No, he said with the faintest grin, we're both stuck, but I can't think of better company. Olivia blinked, unsure if he was being charming or simply disarming. She shifted her weight slightly, glancing again at the elevator panel. Still dead. I didn't peg you as the type to crack a joke during a malfunction, she said, trying to sound casual. But her voice betrayed a tremble, not from fear, but from the weight of how surreal this was. Richard leaned back against the mirrored wall, arms crossed. There's not much point panicking in a box. I've spent too many years inside worse ones. His words hung in the stale air. She wasn't sure what he meant, a metaphor for boardrooms, marriages, or something darker, but she didn't ask. She was trained to handle tenant disputes, not decode billionaires. Instead, she asked, so, how often do you ride in your own elevators? Only when I forget I'm human, he replied with a dry smile, which happens less often these days. She chuckled, cautiously. Is that your way of saying you usually take the private lift? I usually take the stairs. Olivia raised an eyebrow. 42 floors? Habit. Keeps the knees honest. A pause. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was loaded. Like both of them had just realized there was more going on in this steel box than a delay in service. She finally spoke. I thought you'd be colder. Rumor is you're a walking glacier. Richard didn't blink. Rumors are efficient. They keep people from asking too many questions. Well, Olivia said, her voice low, now you're stuck with someone who asks a lot of them. He gave her a long, measured look. Good. It surprised her, not just the word, but the way he said it, like he meant it, like he needed someone to ask. The minutes dragged on, and with them, a strange kind of intimacy grew between them. Not romantic? Not yet, but raw. Unfiltered. She found herself seated on the floor, her blazer folded beneath her. Richard stayed standing, hands in his pockets, his back to the wall. Occasionally, their eyes met. Not out of boredom, but out of curiosity. You know, she said softly, I only took this job because I needed something stable. I used to work for startups. Tech. Fast and fun, until they weren't. I lost 2 jobs in 1 year and ended up here. He didn't respond right away. Why'd you stay? He finally asked. She looked up at him, then away. Because I thought no one here would notice if I failed. Richard exhaled sharply, not quite a laugh. I built this building so people like you wouldn't fail. That's ironic, she said, meeting his gaze, because no one ever told me that. Maybe, he said, no one knew you were worth watching. That struck something deep in her. She looked away quickly, her jaw tightening. He noticed. I didn't mean to offend. You didn't, she cut in. I've had enough of men noticing me too late. That silenced him. Not because he was offended, but because he understood. Or maybe, related. The stillness in the elevator became a strange cocoon, a space where neither of them had to pretend. Did you ever regret it? Olivia asked suddenly. Regret what? Choosing the top over everything else. Richard didn't answer at first. His jaw clenched slightly, a small twitch she noticed only because she'd been watching too closely. I've had 3 wives, he said quietly. No children, more awards than friends, and a penthouse so high up I don't hear the city anymore. Olivia's throat tightened. She hadn't expected honesty, not from him. Why tell me that? She asked. He shrugged. Maybe because you're the first person in a long time who didn't ask me for anything. I'm asking for the elevator to move, she muttered, and he smiled, a real one this time. The emergency lights flickered. Then nothing. Total darkness. She sucked in a breath, more startled than afraid. She felt his hand gently touch her shoulder, just for a second, grounding her. You okay? He asked. Yeah, she said, voice lower now. Just not a fan of pitch black. He said nothing, but she heard him shift. Then a faint click. The dull glow of his wristwatch lit up. It's not much, but at least it's something. She moved closer, not out of fear, but instinct. Tell me something, he said. Something you've never told anyone in this building. Olivia hesitated. Why? Because I will never use it against you. That's the only promise I can make right now. She considered it, then whispered, I was once fired for reporting my supervisor. He was married. I wasn't, but that didn't matter. Richard's silence was heavy, but not judging. I took this job because I didn't want to be in anyone's line of sight again. I wanted to disappear quietly behind systems and floor plans. Except you didn't, he said. You kept fixing things. Her voice cracked. Because if I don't fix something, I start to feel like maybe I deserved what happened. In the dim glow of the watch, she saw his hand twitch, like he wanted to reach for her again, but stopped himself. Can I tell you something? He asked. Please. I've built towers, thousands of feet of glass and concrete, but I've never known what it means to build trust. I destroy things when I get too close to them. They sat in silence, shadows touching but not quite connecting. Then came the noise. A crackle from above. The intercom buzzed faintly, then died again. Olivia stood quickly. Did you hear that? Richard nodded. They're working on it. She turned to him, trying to shift back to her professional self. When we get out, I'll make sure maintenance follows up with a full inspection. This was unacceptable, but he stayed seated. Do you really want it to end? He asked softly. She froze. What do you mean? This, whatever this is. Do you want to go back to a world where we're strangers again? Her heart thudded. I don't know what this is, she said. It's not business, he said, standing now, his tone quiet but firm. It's not flirtation, but it's something. Her eyes flashed. I can't afford something, Richard. I've had enough men hand me a spark and disappear before it became a flame. I'm not disappearing. No, you're 61, I'm 27. We're not even in the same chapter, we're not even in the same library. The lights flickered again, the elevator hummed, and with a jolt, the panel lit up. Floor 42 blinked back into life. They both looked at it, then at each other. He took a step closer, but she didn't move. I'll forget this, she said, voice low. You won't. I'll try. And then, the elevator doors opened, but neither of them moved. She finally stepped out. He didn't follow, not yet. Behind her the hallway was empty, but she could feel it. The air had changed. Something had shifted in that steel box, in both of them. But nothing had been resolved, no agreement made, no compromise reached, and maybe that was the problem, or the beginning. The silence between them now echoed louder than the elevator's mechanical hum had just moments before. Olivia didn't turn around. Her heels tapped once, twice, then hesitated on the slick hallway floor. She stood frozen beneath the fluorescent lights, her shoulders rigid, as if daring herself not to look back. The air conditioning hummed above her like an accusation. She took a breath, then walked. Each step away from the elevator felt heavier than the last, not because of regret, but because of what had been left unsaid. Richard hadn't chased her, hadn't tried to explain, to stop her, to soften the distance between them with another truth or half-truth. And yet, she had wanted him to. That was the part that scared her the most. Back at her office, Olivia tossed her clipboard onto her desk with a little more force than necessary. The HVAC report blinked unread in her inbox. She sat, stared, stood again. Her mind wouldn't slow down. She was angry, at herself, mostly, for letting her guard slip, for a door she had spent years keeping bolted shut, for letting him, a man with a corner office and a mountain of complications, feel close enough to touch something inside her that hadn't been touched in a very long time. Not since Evan. She hadn't spoken his name aloud in over 2 years. Her phone buzzed. A single message. From unknown number. Thank you for the honesty today. I won't forget it, R. She stared at it. Her thumb hovered over the screen before locking the phone and tossing it aside. 2 days passed. The elevator was repaired within hours, and yet Olivia avoided it. She took the stairs, all 42 floors when needed. No one said anything, but her team noticed the change, the briskness in her steps, the tighter ponytail, the way she reviewed maintenance logs like they'd wronged her personally. She was building a wall again, brick by brick, precision, control. But something inside her ached, not for romance, not even for clarity, for completion, for the moment to make sense. Richard, meanwhile, didn't reach out again. Not through messages, not in meetings, not when their schedules inevitably overlapped during Thursday's budget review with facilities. He was there, seated at the far end of the conference table, nodding at reports, asking cold questions in that same sharp, controlled cadence. No one would have guessed anything had passed between them. He didn't even glance in her direction. And maybe that should have made it easier. But it didn't. After the meeting, she lingered in the hallway, just long enough to catch his shadow leaving the boardroom. He passed her without a word. Only when he reached the corner did he pause. Then he said, without turning, "The elevator isn't what changed anything." She looked up. Then what did? He faced her now, not smiling, not guarded, just there. You. That night, she couldn't sleep. She sat at her kitchen counter, a half-eaten grilled cheese going cold on the plate beside her. The city glowed outside her window, a sprawling, indifferent maze of glass and light. Her phone lit up again. This time it wasn't Richard, it was her old boss, the married one. "I heard you're making waves in commercial real estate. Let's grab lunch sometime?" She stared at the message until her vision blurred, then deleted it, then turned her phone off. The next morning, Olivia stood in front of the Northgate elevators again. For the first time since the incident, she didn't press the call button, just stared at it. Her reflection flickered in the steel. Not hers. Richard stood a few paces behind her, arms folded, watching. "How long are we going to pretend that didn't matter?" he asked quietly. She turned to face him. "You tell me." "I told you. I don't disappear." "But you don't show up either," she shot back. "You speak in riddles. You drop fragments and leave me to assemble them like I work in puzzles. I don't mean to confuse you." "No?" Her voice hardened. "Then tell me what you want." "A beat. 2. I want to stop building buildings that people survive in," he said. "I want to build something that someone might actually feel safe inside." Olivia laughed, bitterly. And you think I'm your blueprint? No, he said softly. I think you're the only one who sees through the glass. They stood like that, facing each other in the lobby, two people from wildly different orbits. Drawn together by chance, now held apart by everything else. She took a step closer, then another. You keep waiting for me to say something that makes it okay, she said. But it won't be, it can't be. Because of the age? Because of the power, she corrected. Because even when you say you see me, I still feel like I'm in your building, on your time, breathing air you paid for. That's not how I see it. But that's how it is. They were close now, too close for anyone else in the lobby not to notice. But neither of them cared. You can't rewrite the rules of how the world works, Richard. I'm not trying to rewrite them, he said. I'm trying to stop obeying the ones that never worked to begin with. She looked at him for a long time, studying the lines around his eyes, the quiet conviction in his voice, the sadness that clung to his words like a shadow. I don't trust this, she said. Whatever this is, it's too easy to fall into and too hard to live with once it's real. I don't want easy. You don't know what you want. And you do? He challenged. You're running so fast from your past, you don't even realize you're circling the same floors day after day. That one hit hard, her face flushed with anger or shame or both. You don't get to diagnose me, she snapped. No, he said gently. I just recognize the symptoms. For a moment, she wanted to scream at him, or cry, or lean in and kiss him just to prove he wouldn't dare. But instead, she stepped back. I need to breathe, she said. You can, even here. But she was already turning. This time, he didn't stop her. Later that week, Olivia submitted a transfer request. Same company, different building, different zip code. The reply came the next morning. Expedited, approved. No questions asked. That afternoon, her desk was cleared, except for a single envelope, unmarked. Inside, a letter, handwritten. This building never deserved you, but I'm glad it borrowed you, even for a while. R. No signature, no phone number. Just a sketch in the corner, a rough pencil outline of an elevator, with no doors. Some elevators take us up, some take us down, and then there are the rare ones that stop in between. Just long enough to change the course of two lives forever. Olivia didn't get the fairy tale. Richard didn't get the redemption arc. But maybe, just maybe, they got something far more honest. A mirror held up to the choices we make when no one is watching. To the moments we think don't count, until they become the only ones that ever mattered. Not every connection becomes a relationship. Not every spark becomes a fire. But every heart that's cracked open, even for a moment, lets a little more light in. If this story moved you, comment below what moment hit you the hardest and answer the quiz at the end. Get it right within 7 days for a chance at our shoutout post. Watching late? Answer anyway, we might still surprise you. And if you love this kind of emotional story, the next one is already waiting for you. Click the video that will show on your screen soon. We'll meet you there. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss what happens next. Quiz: how many times did you hear the name Olivia Blake?